What's going on, everyone? My name is Triforce Addiction, and welcome back to another Legendary Versus video where we are going to be comparing the DRH Wicked Claw and the DRH Purebred. So I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this specific video because, it's the DRH. It's one of the most famous weapons in this game as of right now, and I believe it's currently part of the, the competitive meta for ranked and just basic multiplayer in general. So yeah, I know, like I said, a lot of you people have been waiting for it, so here you go. So first off, we're going to touch on the history of, I guess, the DRH legendary skins. So the Wicked Claw was one of the first, was pretty much the first legendary for this weapon, and it came out a few months after the weapon itself was released. So I believe this weapon came out around Season 7, Season 8, but we didn't get a legendary for it in that particular season until like way later on down the line, around Season 11 to Season 12. That's when we actually got the legendary skin, which actually surprised me because, our typical pattern for legendary skins, especially for new weapons, typically seem to release within that same season that they are released. So really, after the weapon was released, we were really waiting on a DRH legendary, and it kind of surprised me how long it took for, like, a skin like this to release. And I mean, it was well worth the wait. I mean, the Wicked Claw is one of my favorite legendary skins for assault rifles. For those people that actually missed this draw, there was another chance to obtain it in Season 3 of this year. I think it was the Japanese theme, where this came out as a Redux draw. And it's something that I did see a lot after the Redux draw came out. I saw a lot of people that I went against or even played with that actually bought the entire weapon draw. And it just goes to show you how amazing this skin is. And now, 8 to 9 seasons later, we now have a second legendary skin for the DRH, that of course being the Purebred. So of course this was shown in, I guess, the files of COD Mobile for Season 6. I think when the public test build came out. And we already knew that the DRH was going to have, yet again, another legendary. We just didn't know at the time how it was going to look like until we got the full update for global. And I mean, even if you didn't see the leaks or anything, you would know that this thing was about to have a legendary because, COD Mobile tends to have legendaries alongside weapon buffs. So for example, last season when the Locust Neptune came out, there was a buff to its skeleton stock to make it a lot faster, thus making people more inclined to buy the legendary skin. So here they basically increased the bullet spread accuracy in order to incentivize people into buying this legendary skin. But I mean, either way, it still looks really good, and even if the DRH didn't even get a buff, I would still buy this. Because in truth, the DRH is always going to be a very solid assault rifle. So anyways, let's begin in chronological order with the DRH Wicked Claw. So first and foremost, the Wicked Claw is of course a reactive skin. Compared to the Purebred, the Purebred's just a basic legendary skin with no reactive effects other than just having it shine once you get a kill. So every few kills or so, the weapon's going to evolve until it finally turns into like this purple lion type camo. And to be quite frank, I don't even know if it's a lion. I think it's like a wolf maybe. I don't know. I can't really identify both the animals for both skins. Like they both seem to be themed towards, wildlife or something like that. Well, with the Purebred being a little bit more about like, crime lords and stuff. So the Wicked Claw is more elegantly designed, I would say, with a more of a, maybe like a bronze or like a copper type of feel to it, or like, I guess that's like the material. And of course it does have some, some weird intricate designs around the body of the weapon. When it comes to the iron sight though, it seems to be a little bit more caved in compared to the Purebred and just the DRH in general as a normal weapon. So yeah, that's another thing to keep note of. It's a little bit more obstructing than the Purebred, but it's not really much of a big deal. The death effect also involves just the player. It's kind of like a usual death effect where the enemy just pretty much disintegrates, but this time around it has like some claw marks that appear around the character once they're actually dead. So I guess when it comes to the hook or what influences people to buy this skin, is usually the iron sight for certain weapons, right? Like for example, the MK2 Helix grade. A lot of people liked it because of the iron sight. It was less obstructing than the base weapon itself. But here it's a little bit different. I feel like people were more inclined to buy this just due to the overall appearance, because it is very, like, it's just so aesthetically pleasing. And honestly, this is made apparent when I'm in matches. Sometimes I get really stunned about how it looks. Sometimes I even get myself killed because I was just paying attention to how good the design is. So yeah, overall this blueprint is just amazing in almost every single way. So now let's move on to the more current legendary, that of course being the Purebred. So I know a lot of people are fans of this one mainly because of just the overall design. I mean, they changed so much of this weapon to the point where it may feel like it's an advantage, but at the same time, I mean, the DRH default sight is, I mean, it's still pretty good on its own. So the Purebred seems to kind of go away from the wildlife design, but it still has kind of like an animal type of figure within the weapon itself, but instead it's more of a crime lord type of appearance, you know? Like, you know, you're like the big boss, so you have to have like this golden type of weapon to show that you're top dog or something like that. And it's made more apparent when the iron sight is in the shape of a throne. The other jewels around the weapon include, you know, just diamond studs around the side of the gun, like pretty much around the body. And I think the mag one is probably very interesting to me. It looks really well designed because it's pretty much in the shape of a demon, and you know, you're changing the, like, it's like you're changing its mouth whenever you reload. It's kind of funny. And one of the best features about this weapon is probably the iron sight. So the iron sight is as obstructive proof as it can be. I mean, it's perfect. There's no other way to explain it. And not to mention the death effect. I mean, it's kind of funny at the same time, and like, it's very aesthetically pleasing. It's very satisfying when you kill an enemy and they just turn into a pile of cash. And like I said before, when I was talking about the Wicked Claw, that this particular skin is not reactive. It's just a basic legendary skin. The only time it ever reacts is when you kill someone, when just, I guess, the shine starts appearing for a brief moment. But in reality, this skin does not really need any reactive effects. Like, the way it looks, the way it's structurally built is satisfying enough. So now let's move on to the pros and cons for each of these legendaries. So let's start off with the Wicked Claw first. So obviously it's reactive, so that's something immediately that it has over the Purebred. It also has its own unique shooting sound, and it has overall more active animations. Although it doesn't have a really good starting appearance. So like right when you get into the game, when there's no reactive effects on it, it doesn't look as appealing as it does with the Purebred. And also the iron sight is much more obstructing compared to the Purebred, as well as for the death effect not being as good as the Purebred itself. So now let's begin talking about the pros and cons for the Purebred. So obviously it has its own unique shooting sound as well, and the reason why I put these both in white text is because, you know, they're both really fantastic. It's really hard to decide which one is better than the other. Also, the death effect seems to be a lot less obstructing, just turning the enemies into a pile of cash, and it doesn't block your view from anyone that may be behind the enemy. Also, the iron sight, I mean, it's like, obviously this one's a no-brainer. It's obviously better than the DRH Wicked Claw since it's less obstructing. And the overall starting appearance as well is pretty amazing. I mean, that's just talking a little bit more about the design itself. And now let's talk about the cons. So obviously it's not reactive, so the only time it ever reacts, like I said, is when you kill an enemy, and there is just a lot less animations that go with this particular variant. So now I think we pretty much know who the clear winner is. I mean, the DRH Purebred is far more superior in terms of appearance, and it doesn't even have to be reactive to be a good skin overall. Not to mention that the iron sight makes it easy to spot enemies compared to the more obstructing version, which is of course the Wicked Claw. And keep in mind, for something that's so well designed, it appears to be a little bit more cheaper compared to its reactive counterpart. So yeah, anyways, there you guys have it. That's the legendary comparison video that I have for you guys today. Make sure to let me know what you think down in the comment section, and make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe for some more legendary comparison videos in the future. So anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.